And we believe that the Pope, of course, arriving a bit later on this afternoon in Uganda. What's the build-up been to this visit?
Well, thanks very much, Leanna, and welcome once again. Well, from the reports here yesterday, the gay and lesbian community was among those that expressed the wish to actually meet with the Pope, even if it's just to really speak to him about their plight here. They say they are being harassed. They can't lead the kind of lives that they would like to lead. That Uganda, broadly speaking, is very intolerant towards them. But that meeting, or the prospects of that meeting happening, quite slim. It doesn't look like the Pope will be able to do that. But from what some of the people we have spoken to were saying, perhaps it is time that the Pope really makes some pronouncements on behalf of the Church on this issue, especially in this country where like close to half of the population here are Roman Catholics. In other words, suggesting that the Church cannot afford to be at best ambiguous at all on this issue any longer. But it doesn't look like, well, it depends. Will the Pope really decide to, set an example or lead by example and actually be forthright on this issue? Or perhaps an even bigger question is whether the Roman Catholic Church does have an unambiguous stance on this matter at all. Well, we don't know. It remains to be seen. But certainly the gay and lesbian community has made its view known, and they are lobbying to get the Pope's ear. Leanne?
I imagine that's a tough situation to put the Pope in as well. I mean, being the head of the Catholic Church and I suppose exposing the stance of the Catholic Church when it comes to homosexuality. Although this particular Pope has been a lot more open to homosexuality, but the community within Uganda, I mean, I suppose to talk about the history of the anti-homosexual community within Uganda is a very, very big issue. So reaching out to the Pope, I imagine, is one of their desperate pleas to get the country to move forward.
Well, you're correct, and that's precisely the reason why the gay and lesbian community felt that he should actually make sure that he at least says something about their plight. But of course there are other interest groups, among them people, including like a lot of civilians we spoke to yesterday, people who feel that perhaps he needs to say something about the politics of the country. As someone who has really never been shy to speak truth to authority, I mean, he has taken the financial markets on, leading economists in the world about the influence and the power of the markets in ordinary people's lives. As someone who has taken big firms, big business on the issue of environmental degradation, he should, they believe, also say something around the politics here. Some people who believe that maybe people like President Museveni have been around for quite some time, perhaps he should say something about the tendency among African leaders to want to stay on and hang on to power forever. But some people saying perhaps that is not really the question. The question should be that whoever is in power, no matter how long they may decide to stay in power, the important thing, or perhaps the most important thing, is whether they are prepared, or they should be delivering to the masses of the people what the people want. In other words, the service delivery is perhaps more important than simply focusing on how long a particular leader stays in power. Will he say something around those issues? Well, we'll see.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much. We'll continue our discussion in the next hour with Vuyo Mvoko, our contributing editor, who is in Uganda. And one can imagine a very, very excited atmosphere there ahead of the visit of Pope Francis. He's just coming from Kenya. And politics, perhaps, something that he will be talking about. Well, one thing he spoke about when he visited in Kenya was he didn't like what he saw when it came to the inequality, and him driving around in a very, very modest vehicle and not enjoying seeing what some of the dignitaries and leaders were driving around with while visiting poor slums of the people. So that's something I know that he did highlight.